Okay, guys, so since I am just having you do the odds, and somehow I skipped over number 9, so you get a freebie. I'm just going to do some of the select evens. So I'm going to start with this one. It says find the area of each regular polygon. This is a lot like we did last week in 10.3, but this time you're going to have to use SOHCAHTOA. So it all starts by finding the central angle. And because this is a pentagon, you're going to do 360 and you're going to divide it by 5. And I believe that's 72. So that would be 72. But keep in mind, the apothem, it comes down and it cuts it in half. So this angle is now 36, which means that Mrs. Black is going to run out of room here on this paper. So I might need to go to a separate piece of paper. We have this right angle with 36 degrees here, a hypotenuse that we know is 6 feet, and we need to find out, I'm just going to put this right here, X and Y, right? Because we need to figure out what our apothem is, and we need to figure out this piece right here so that we can find our perimeter, because we want to find the area. So I'm going to just put my googly eyes on. This is obviously my hypotenuse. This would be my opposite, and this is my adjacent. So I'm going to start first by finding my Y, or my apothem. So this is my hypotenuse, and my adjacent, which is going to be cosine 36, right? Ka, A-H, ka, equals your adjacent, which we don't know, so Y over 36. Well, to get Y by itself, I'm going to multiply both sides by 36. And I will do just that in my calculator. I don't know why. Sorry, it's supposed to be over 6 feet. Sorry, I don't know why I put 36. Probably because of the angle. So times 6. Goodness gracious, Mrs. Black. Okay, so we're going to do cosine 36, close our parentheses, times 6. And we'll get about 4.85. So now I know that Y equals 4.85. And remember, that's our apothem. So our apothem is 4.85. Now I need to figure out what in the world my perimeter is. So I'm going to refer back to my same diagram, but this time I'm going to use my opposite because I want to find that side length and my hypotenuse. So that will be so, O and an H. I'll say sine for so of 36 equals my opposite, which is X over 6. Well, to get X by itself, again, I'm going to multiply both sides by 6 and both sides by 6. And I will end up with sine 36, close my parentheses, times 6 equals 3.53. So X equals. But keep in mind, guys, if you're looking at the diagram, that's only this portion. So in order to find the whole side length, I'm going to need to take that and multiply it by 2. So 3.53 times 2, and it loves to give me decimals, would be 7.06. And now that's my entire side length, right? So I know I have a side length of 7.06. Well, I need to figure out what in the world my perimeter is. Well, it's a pentagon, so it has 5 sides. So I'm going to take that and multiply it by 5. And I will get a perimeter of 35.3. 35.3. And so now I get to find my area, which area is equal to your apothem times your perimeter divided by 2. So 4.85 times 35.3, all divided by 2. 4.85 times 35.3, enter, divided by 2. And you guys should get 85.6 feet squared. All right, that would be your answer for number 2. All right, I'm going to jump to number I'll go ahead and jump to, which one should I do? I guess I'll do number 6. So a nonagon with a radius of 6 feet. Okay, a nonagon has 9 sides, and I'm not going to draw that. So I'm just going to say 9 sides, and I'm going to find my central angle. So I'm going to do 360 divided by 9, which would give me 40. But keep in mind, I've got to divide that by 2, and that would give me 20. So if I were to think back to a nonagon, right, and it would have this right triangle inside of it, and this would be 20 degrees. And the radius, remember the radius always hits one of the vertices. If you remember back here, coming from the center and going to a vertice. So I would know that this hypotenuse piece, not my apothem, is equal to 6 feet because it tells me a radius of 6 feet. So again, I'm going to go ahead and put my googly eyes on, and I'm going to want to solve for this side and this side because I need to find my perimeter and I need to find my apothem so that I can figure out my area. All right, so googly eyes, this is my hypotenuse, this is my adjacent, and this is my opposite. Okay, so first thing, I'm going to just find my apothem, which is going to be my A and my H, which is going to be ka. So I would say cosine 20 equals my adjacent, which is y, over my hypotenuse, which is 6. And again, to get 6 by itself, I'm going to multiply both sides by 6. So I would do cosine 20, close my parentheses, times 6. And I would end up with y equals 2, excuse me, 5.64. Now y, that was our apothem, so we are going to write that 5.64 right there. And now we're going to figure out our side, or half of our side. So at this time, I'm going to use my hypotenuse and my O, so that's going to be sine of 20 equals my opposite, so x over my hypotenuse. Now I'm going to multiply this side by 6 and this side by 6, and I will do sine 20, close my parentheses, times 6, and I will end up with 2.05. Right, keep in mind that was only part of the side. Don't have a nonagon to show you, but so now I'm going to multiply that 2.5 by 2, and I will get 4.10. Okay, so I know I now have a side length of 4.10. To find my perimeter, I'm going to do 9, because it's a nonagon, 9 sides, times 4.10. So times 9 equals, and I will get 36.94. So now I know my perimeter is 36.94. I'm going to multiply those two together and divide by 2 because that's my area, right? Area equals your apothem times your perimeter divided by 2. 36.94 times 5.64, and all of that divided by 2 equals 104.12. And if we wanted to, that would be feet squared. So that's number 6. I'm going to go ahead and jump down to, actually, let's go ahead and do number 10. All right, so this is going to be number 10. It's a 15agon, which if I can't draw a nonagon, I definitely can't draw a 15agon. So what I'm going to tell, what it tells you is that it has a perimeter of 120 feet. So you're going to go ahead to figure out each side length. You're going to do 120 divided by 15. and you will end up with 8. So we know our perimeter in terms of finding the area. We know that our perimeter is 120. Now we need to figure out what our apothem is. So this is just one side length. And we got that because we took the perimeter and divided it by the 15 sides. But what we need to remember is that we're actually dealing with a right triangle. The apothem comes and cuts it in half, right? So if the whole side is 8, we need to figure out what in the world the apothem is. So, so this would be 4, right? Because the apothem cuts it in half. And we can also figure out this angle because remember it's a central angle. So we would do 360. We would divide it by 15. 360 divided by 15. And we would get 24. But remember the central angle cuts it in half. So we divide it by 2 and we end up with 12. So all we need to figure out right here is the apothem. I'm going to put my googly eyes on it. This would be my opposite, and this would also be my adjacent, which is quite convenient. We don't really need to know our hypotenuse right now. So opposite and adjacent would be TOA. We would say tangent 12 equals my opposite 4 over my apothem, which I don't know yet. So I need to get A alone. I'm going to multiply both sides by A. Multiply both sides by A. I'll have tangent 12 times A equals 4. I got to get A by itself, so divide by tangent 12. And I will end up with my apothem being 4 divided by tangent 12. Close your parentheses, hit enter, and it would be 18.81. That's my apothem. Or actually, we would probably round, so 18.82. So now I know my perimeter. I know my apothem is 18.82, and I can find my area. So area equals 18.82 times 120, all divided by 2. So 18.82 times 120 divided by 2. And we end up with 1,129.2 feet. Whoops, if you could actually see that. 1,129.2 feet. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to move on to number 12. And then I will do number 18 with you guys. All right, so here's number 12. It wants us to find the perimeter, and it wants us to find the area. Well, in order to find the area, we actually need to know the perimeter. And this figure I can draw. It's a triangle. So the information it gives us is that the radius coming from the center to a vertex is 6 inches. We don't know the apothem. First thing we can figure out, though, is we can figure out that angle. So we're going to do 360, the whole angle, divided by 3, which is going to give us 120. And then we're going to divide that in half, and we're going to get 60. So I now know that this is 60, and this is 90, and this is 30. Hallelujah! I can use a special right triangle. So I'll just redraw this triangle over here. This is 6. This we want to find is our apothem. This we need to find is going to help us find our perimeter. This is 60, and this is 30. So remember, across from 60 is n round 3, across from 30 is n, and across from 90 is 2n. All right, well, to solve for n, I'm going to do 2n equals 6. Divide by 2, divide by 2, n equals 3. So now I know that my apothem my apothem, lowercase a, is 3. I know that this side right here is going to be 3 rad 3. Now I need to think of it as my perimeter, right? So this part is 3 rad 3, and this part is 3 rad 3. Well, the whole side is going to be 6 rad 3. And there's 3 sides for the perimeter, so we can multiply that by 3. And you guys can go ahead and turn it into a decimal. So you can go 6 times rad 3 equals, we'll give it a second, that's it as a decimal. And then we can multiply that little side by 3 to represent the 3 sides of the triangle. Keeps converting it back into a radical for me. And we would know that our perimeter is 31.17. Or let's just say 31.2. Now that I have my apothem and my perimeter, I can find my area. So 3 times 31.2, all divided by 2. 3 times 31.2, enter, divided by 2, and we would end up with our area being 46.8, and that's inches squared. So that's number 12. Let's go ahead and move on and do number 18. So I'm not doing all of the evens, but I'm doing basically one from each section to help you guys. And hopefully it's helpful. Okay, so the piece that they give me is that piece, and they tell me that it's 9 centimeters. And the other piece that they give me is this piece, and they tell me that it's 8 centimeters. Unfortunately, I have to find the area of both and subtract them. So I'm going to just start by finding the area of my bigger square, this one out here. And to do that, if you notice that goes to the end of the circle and it's 8, well, you would go ahead and add those two together, the 8 and the 9, because they're both squares, right? And you would end up with 17, right? So hopefully you can see that if I were to extend this, it would be the same radii, right? So that would be 8 as well, and that would be 17. So I know that bit. Now I need to figure out my central angle, which is going to be 360 divided by 4, which is going to be 90. Okay, so the whole angle, the whole central angle is 90. Don't forget I have to divide it in half, which would give me 45. So I now know that this angle is 45 degrees. And the apothem creates a 90-degree angle, so this would be 45. Well, that's great news, because now I know that this is n, and this is n rad 2. And for the first time, guys, I'm going to let you do 17 equals n rad 2. I'm going to actually let you divide by rad 2. Okay, so in your calculator, you're going to just do 17 divided by rad 2, hit enter. My calculator is funny. And you'll get 12.02. So n equals 12.02. That means that this piece right here is 12.02. Our apothem is 12.02. So now I know my apothem is 12.02. And now I can figure out what my perimeter is. So if this is 12.02, then the whole side has to be 24.04. And I'm going to multiply that by 4 because there's 4 sides at 24.04. Which is going to give me 96.16. So now to find the area of this big whole square, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract, or I'm going to find the area of this one. So 96.6 times 12.02 equals, and then divided by 2, and I would end up with 57 or 577.92. That would be the area for this big square. Now what we're going to need to do is we're actually going to need to find the area of the little square. But we've done a lot of the work, okay? For example, we now know that the central angle, this little angle right here, is 45. This piece is 8, this piece is 90, and this is 45. So this would be n, this would be n, and this would be n rad 2, right? Because we already did, it's a four-sided figure. Divided by 360 would give me the 90. 90 divided by 2, I know that that's 45. Okay, so again, I'm going to let you guys divide in your calculator. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to divide by rad 2 and divide by rad 2. You'll have n equals, so 8 divided by rad 2. And you'll end up with 5.66, let's just say. Okay, so that's both of your ends. So now for this one, for the area, I need my apothem, which I know is equal to 5.66. Now I need to know my perimeter. Well, I know that half of the side is 5.66, but I need to figure out the full side, right? Because we came down and we went like that for the apothem. So I'm going to multiply that by 2. 2 times 5.66. And I will end up with 11.32. So now for the smaller side, I know that that side length is 11.32. I'm going to take that 11.32 and multiply it by 4 because there's 4 sides. And I will end up with a perimeter equaling 45.28. So 45.28. Now I can find my area by multiplying them together. So 5.66 times 45.28 and dividing them by 2. Oh my gosh. And I would end up with I think I did that right. I made a lot of mistakes. Let me just check. 5.66 times 45.28 equals divided by 2. Okay, 128.14. All right, that would be my area. Now I'm going to take these two areas, 577.92, which represented the big square, and this area right here, the smaller square, and subtract them. So 577.92 minus 128.14. So 577.92 minus 128.14. Goodness. And you should end up with about 449.78 centimeters squared. That would be the area of your shaded region right there. And that is the last question I'm going to do with you guys, because if I did all the evens, this would be an hour-long video. So have a good one, guys. I hope that helps. Bye.